Welcome to the driver's seat. We're wrapping up a week with this 2023 Audi Q3. It's a very significant vehicle. It was introduced in 2011 to the international market, came to the US in 2015. So we got it mid-generation 1. In 2019, they introduced Gen 2, which is what you see here. So we're again in the middle of that cycle. And it's been a very popular vehicle for VW's luxury brand, Audi. Worldwide, multiple engine variants, but here we get the four-cylinder turbocharged engine, which is tried and true, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. This model is significant for Audi because whereas the A3 used to be the kind of entry point for most buyers into the Audi luxury brand, now this has become the entry point. The Q3 fits a lot of people's lifestyles. Young couples or young couples with young families, young couples with one or two small children. Also empty nesters, people who maybe are in their 50s, don't have kids in the house anymore and want the utility, occasionally want to put people in the back seat, but mostly just want room for a weekend getaway, and this fits all of that. While other car companies, especially luxury car companies, struggle with the interior, instrument panel, infotainment, and infotainment has become one of the most critical deciding factors for buyers, especially luxury car buyers. They want to make sure that the tech is easy to use, up to date, obviously works with their smartphones, and Audi checks all those boxes. But while other car companies struggle, Audi does not. They really nailed it, and they keep improving it, in my opinion. So what you have here is the Q3, which started in 2011, but not in the US until 2015. In 2018, we got the second generation, and so that's what we're driving now. This is basically a mid-cycle refresh from 2019 model year on. And this is a wonderful segment. 10-20 years ago, it was vehicles like the Audi A4 or A3 that were the entry-level sedans into the luxury segment for Audi. And every car company had that kind of entry-level sedan. Now it's all about the entry-level crossover, and that's what the Audi Q3 does, and it does brilliantly, in my opinion. Well, price range, give or take, $40,000 to $50,000. We're not even going to talk about resale value because in this post-pandemic time period, resale values, used cars are so inflated. They are starting to come down, but it's hard to even look at that as something that we need to consider. This segment is booming. Every luxury car company, practically every major luxury brand has a vehicle in this segment, and Audi is certainly up there with all of them. But whether it's a Lexus kind of UX or NX, the Acura, Infiniti, just about every Mercedes, BMW, they have the X1, X2, and what I call this is more of a kind of compact crossover. The Q5 is kind of mid-size, and the Q7 is full size. And then of course you've got the Q8, which is more sporty. And some people like to think of this vehicle as kind of a scaled-down version of the Q8. I don't really think so, but one thing I will say is this is a fun vehicle to drive. As you can see, it has plenty of pickup. I've heard people complain about the transmission or there's some turbo lag. In my week of driving, and we've definitely done some spirited driving, I don't see any of that. The seats are comfortable. The infotainment works wonderfully, and just a great daily driver. If you were coming to me and asking for an entry-level luxury crossover that's an excellent daily driver, this would be in my top 3 for sure. Plenty of power. You have standard Quattro, which is Audi's legendary all-wheel drive system. They really have built a reputation on that. Nowadays, hardly anybody buys a vehicle without all-wheel drive, if that's an option. Audi has made it standard just about across their entire line, especially here in the US. And it's typically an option that I've mentioned that adds anywhere between $1,800 and $2,000 to the front wheel or rear wheel drive version if there was one. But for me, it's just a no-brainer because it's money you'll definitely recoup. And the reason I say that is when you go to sell your vehicle, now you can sell to many more people as opposed to having just a two-wheel drive vehicle. But other than that, I like the styling. It's looking a little bit dated for me, but I don't see the next Q3 being a gasoline vehicle in the US. I see it being all electric, or at the very minimum a plug-in hybrid. And we just drove the Q4, and that's obviously 100% electric e-tron. So I say enjoy this while you can. And when you look at this vehicle, this is a global vehicle. Plenty of headroom, hip room, leg room, seats are comfortable. Again, this is something we have become almost spoiled and expected from German manufacturers, and Audi's one of the best. Everything about this vehicle feels solid. Steering wheel, love the paddle shifters. This is a proper compact premium / luxury crossover. I've heard complaints about backseat room and cargo room compared to some of the competitors. I say this vehicle will satisfy 95% of your needs. Go drive them all, and you decide which one I say if you're truly in the market for a luxury compact crossover, go drive all of them. And if your budget is between $40,000 to $50,000, which is pretty much where all of them reside, do it and see what works for you. If you know you're going to be carrying a lot of people in the back seat, bring them along and have them sit there and determine if it's comfortable, if it's roomy enough. The rest of the vehicle is great. I think this volume button and power button a little bit out of the way. I wouldn't mind seeing it a little bit closer or somewhere else, but I don't know where else they could put it. They've done a great job of cleaning up the IP here, and like I said, very little to complain about. You have the virtual cockpit, which has been a hallmark of Audi vehicles for almost a decade now, and to me it's just a great way to keep your eye on the road but still be able to keep an eye on some of the key things. We're looking right now at a map, but you can easily change it. You have different views. It just depends on what it is you're looking for. When you look at luxury brands, they're all interested in this segment in particular because this is the one that's going to get buyers in. And Audi's done a great job. Pricing starts just under $40,000, tops off in the low 50s, which is appropriate for the brand. And there's so many competitors: Infiniti, Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, Jaguar, you name it. They all have a vehicle in this segment. And again, they're all really trying hard because they know how important it is if they can win you over with this, then when you go to trade it in, you're going to go up to a Q5 or a Q7 or maybe one of their luxury sedans. So I encourage you to really go check it out, and when you make a decision to buy into this segment, drive them all, because some people might think this has, some people might not think this has enough cargo space or enough rear seat. There's some of the complaints I've heard from other journalists, but we found it to be more than adequate and a great driving vehicle. And of course you have Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive. I'm Ron Doran. Thanks for watching. See you next time on The Driver's Seat.